Hello again, YouTube. FireMedic 21509 coming back to you with a video I discussed in my previous episode. I got my Scott sight in. I'm going to do a little video showing you how to install it. Main reason I'm doing this video is for someone who hasn't purchased this yet. When I got to looking at this and considering purchasing one, I looked for videos on how hard it was to install on my mask, do it myself, and just to get some ideas before I purchased it, see what I thought about it. And there's really no videos out there, so that's kind of one of the things that prompted me to start this channel and start kind of reviewing some of these products that it's hard to get your hands on or hard to find videos on and get much information on. And so the first thing I do have is my Scott Sight Pro. Give you a little bit of a background on this thing. I purchased it, it come in, I went and picked it up, installed it on my mask, everything worked good. With a few hours later, I tried to use it, just playing with it, and it wouldn't connect. So the Scott Sight Pro has an in-mask display, and then it has an external thermal imager that mounts to the outside of your mask, and they communicate wirelessly. And for some reason, somehow, they quit communicating. So called Scott customer service, they put me through to technical services, and they told me I need to send it back to the dealership where I got it, the dealer, and they should be able to make the in-mask display and the thermal imager pair up with a programmer they have. The Scott Tech guy at the local dealer where I purchased it tried, couldn't get it. They sent it to their main office in another state. They tried, couldn't get it, so they had to send it back to Scott. It took me about a month or so of kind of making a bunch of phone calls, looking around, finally got it back. And so I actually had it on my mask when I sent it in. I pulled it off my mask this time, repackaged it just like it was when I purchased it, and it's going to kind of give you a walkthrough on what to expect if you get one, what you're going to get, how to install it. So first off, this is what I picked up from the dealership. Looks a lot like a shoebox, and that's your Scott Sight. So when you open this up, first thing you're going to have is some instructions, user manual, and we'll get back to that here in a minute. And then inside the box, kind of neatly laid out here, pretty aesthetic. You have your thermal imager. As you see here, this is a thermal imager. You got batteries for everything. You have your nose cup, and you have the in-mask display. You also have a tool that they send you, has everything you need to install it except a Allen wrench that you will need that is not included. So other than that, the version I bought actually come with, I bought one that has the left-sided voice amp brackets to relocate your voice amp, your Epic voice amp, from the right side of your mask to the left side of your mask, because once you install the thermal imager on the right side of your mask, if you're using the Epic voice amp, it will no longer go on that side. It has to be relocated to the other side. So we'll cover that once we get it mounted. And I think that's about it. It also comes with a little package of screws that you'll use to mount the thermal imager and replace one screw that's already on your mask. And we'll discuss that as we get to it. So one thing is, if you do not purchase this with the mask, you have the option to purchase it with the mask. I already had the mask. You have to make sure it's the, I might have to look and give you find the exact mask number, but it's not the normal AV3000, it's the AV3000 HT, I believe is the model number. Right down here. Yeah, of course I can't read on it, but just double check, make sure. I believe it's the HT model. That's what you'll have to have. It should have the red valves in the nose cup. That's one way, from what I've seen, to tell if you have the HT or the version that's compatible with the Scott Sight. If you do not have that, you have an older mask, you'll have to purchase a new mask to mount it to. And if you have any other questions on that, you can ask your dealer or contact Scott, and they'll be able to help you with that. If you do have the mask and you're purchasing the thermal imager, I highly suggest you go on to Scott's website and look look at the manual for the Scott, on the page the Scott Sight Pro is on, down at the bottom you have some manuals that you can choose to look at. Look at that on the literature, go down and find the model number you need. There's several different model numbers. Some include the mask, some include the left-hand brackets, but for each one you have there's a different model number for the size mask you have. And if you look on your mask inside, you'll see a size on the nose cup, and then also there's a size on the rubber on the outside of your mask. If you look around the outside edge on the bottom right here, there'll be M, S, L, whatever size mask you have to correlate with that. So just double check, make sure you're getting the right model number for the size mask you have. If you want the voice amp relocation set up, and just do a little research and save yourself some headache. So the first thing you're going to do when you get this, obviously make sure you have everything with it, and I'll just go ahead and set this stuff out. I recommend go ahead and installing the batteries in the in-mask display and in the thermal imager. Just simply for the first time I put it together, I didn't put the batteries in the in-mask display before I put it in. This is designed to where once it's installed, you're not supposed to have to take this completely out. You can pop that loose, change your batteries, but it is still kind of a pain to get that out and back inside your mask. It's doable, but it's just a lot easier to do it before you install it. So I'm gonna go ahead and install those batteries. And the kit does come with the batteries for both the in-mask display and the thermal imager. And it just takes a small Phillips screwdriver. So if you look on the outside, it shows you which way the batteries are being installed. It has the plus and the minus, so just kind of pay attention to that and make sure you're installing the batteries correctly. All right, that's got the batteries in the in-mask display. And if you want to, once you get those batteries in there, there's a red power button on the outside here. You can hold that power button down for just a couple seconds and let off. And you can actually look into the sight display and you'll see the power kick on. It'll say Scott Sight. It'll go to a black screen that has a red kind of waiting emblem there. It's not a connect just yet because you don't have the batteries in the thermal imager, and the thermal imagers are powered on. So I'm just gonna go ahead and power this back off, hold it down for about 3 seconds, and it'll come up with a blue screen say shutting down. So once you've got those there, tested it, make sure it's working, you can put the batteries in your thermal imager. Again, if you look on the outside, it shows you how the battery should be placed. Cuts down any confusion there. All right, now I've got the batteries in there. You can hold the power button down while looking at the front of the thermal imager for about 3 seconds. Green light will come on and then a red light will be flashing. That's it trying to connect to the heads up or the in-mask display. Of course, I've powered the in-mask display off this time, so it's not going to connect. So I'll hold that down for another 3 seconds. Light will go green and it'll go red, shows you it's powered off. All right, so next I've got a small package of hardware here. You've got a long Allen hex head type screw. It's going to go in your mask. You also have a small black Phillips head screw with a black washer. So just set those aside. Go ahead and grab your mask. The first thing I'm going to do with the mask is I'm going to remove my nose cup that's in my mask at this time. You do have to replace the nose cup. To do that, just gently reach inside and around where the voice emitters are on your nose cup. Just gently start pulling the nose cup away from those voice emitters. the tubing on it. It's easy to do, nothing hard about it. Just gently pull it out, go all the way around those voice emitters. Then once you've got both sides off, you can come to the front of your mask here where your regulator attaches, and you can just kind of push in on the top and on the bottom, and your old nose cup will pop right out. You just set that to the side. I would say that for any reason you have your mask, you ever decide you don't want to use this any longer, you're going to sell it, get rid of it, whatever, send it back. Don't think you'd want to do that. I haven't had it long enough yet to give you a good review on it. We will be doing that later, but as far as right now, I'm pretty happy with it. But save those just in case you ever need it. I put it in the box, put your box away. That way you have the serial number and everything you need from your ScotSight Pro, everything you need right there. So once I've gotten that out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my in-mask display. I'm going to place it in the mask. And as you're doing this, just kind of be careful. There is a wire that hangs off here that goes to the battery pack. And I'm just going to gently go in here. I'm going to try not to touch the screen on the in-mask display too much, just so I don't get it all fingerprinted up. So there is a little finesse in here to get it past the bottom chin piece of your seal on your mask and the voice emitter seals, the tubes on those. Just take your time, don't force it. Gently move it back and forth and just kind of use some finesse and get it in there. Once you get it down to where it's kind of seated, it'll just take a little push and it'll pop into place. And you can reach in with a finger from the front and just make sure on both sides there that it's seated all the way forward. Should lock in there fairly tight once you get that click, and you can see it has a release tab on the inside of that if it needs to be removed. But pretty simple. That's all there is to that part right there. Flip it in and it's in place this time. You do have a small set screw. I know you can't see it real well, but inside there's a small set screw that with the tool that they provide, you can adjust the heads-up display screen or in-mask display screen. It does have some vertical adjustment up and down. So when you get everything put in, you can put your mask on and adjust that picture where you can view it best. So once you have that in place, I'm gonna go ahead and put the nose cup in that come with the ScotSight Pro. And just the opposite of what we did a while ago, I'm just gonna take and I'm gonna push the regulator portion through to the outside, and it'll just pop to the outside, and you can easily see where it seats in to that ScotSight Pro bracket there. And then on the inside, I'm just gonna take, and there's a ring around the voice emitter tubes there, and I'm just gonna start placing it in at one side and just work my way around, gently guiding the nose cup back into the voice emitter tubes. And you just take your finger and work your way around and fold the end of the voice emitter tube back a little bit and push the nose cup into that groove there. When you're done, you should be able to run your finger all the way around the voice emitter tube, and it should be laying flat on the outside of the nose cup. And then when you get one side done, move to the other side. And do the exact same thing on this side. Key to this is just like everything else, don't get in a hurry. Just take your time, make sure you get it seated good all the way around as you go. If you get in a hurry and start trying to rush around, it won't get seated somewhere, and then you gotta go back and figure out where it's not popping good. All right, so I've got that back in now. Pretty simple, pretty quick so far. We're not having any hiccups, everything's going pretty good. So that's everything inside the mask.